you're in door-to-door, it's the Wild West. Like,
it is crazy. Let's get into a little doors versus phones.
I love this.
Huh?
Yeah.
Doors versus phones.
Yeah. 108 degrees right now. I have to walk to the effing next door, and people are seeing me, and the dudes driving by are like, ah, ha, ha, look at this solicitor in my neighborhood. Facebook groups are going crazy. They're like, creeper in the neighborhood, look out, you know? And you're just like, I'm not a creeper on a scooter, bro. Like, I'm a good human being. Like, damn it.
And that happens with door-to-door all the time. Door slammed on you. Been chased by dogs. What's the craziest thing, Sam? What's going on, y'all? Eric Cline and another episode of Refuse to Lose podcast. You know I bring some badass dudes on here. I'm all about sales, entrepreneurship, the underdogs, the misfits, the people that don't think they fit into this thing called the entrepreneur world. And I get the pleasure of just bringing badass individuals on here. And I like to bring people on that I actually don't know that well. And I get to meet them in front of all of you. And a lot of times they're from different industries. We talk a lot about sales, but anybody that knows me, I'm all about stop knocking and start dialing. Like I say all the time, the doors are a thing of the past. And I got a badass dude on here. His name's Sam Taggart. And he is all about the door-to-door. So I'm super excited to, one, get to know him, for you guys to get to know him, because at the end of the day, however we can get a deal done, as long as it's moral, ethically, and legally, get a deal done. And this dude's doing massive things in the door-to-door space and making it more ethical. I always say, like, you don't have to sell unethical. Like, if you can fill a void or help a consumer or solve their problem, it's easy to sell them something. But when you start saying shit that you shouldn't be saying just to get a deal done, it's a matter of time before that blows up in your face. You don't have to lie, you don't have to cheat, and you don't have to steal to have a successful career within any industry. So, Sam, what up, man?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me here.
Dude.
And what a pleasure to be in like this dope office, cool paintings, like cool story.
Appreciate that, man.
It's been fun to connect.
Yeah. Just met you and your wife for the first time.
Yes.
You guys are absolute rock stars.
Thank you.
It sucks it's taken me this long to actually get in front of you.
Yeah, it's a long time coming. So.
Yeah, man. So, dude, I guess tell everybody like who you are and me.
Yeah, so door-to-door bread since 11 years old. You know, that's all I did. I was slinging magazines and painting curbs all through high school. Then in 2008, I got into alarms, worked my way up through top rep at Vivint, the biggest alarm company, multi-billion-dollar company. And, you know, I built teams. I was a VP of sales of a solar company for a couple years and had 100 dudes that we were all over. And I got to the point where I was like, this is on like so easy for me. You know what I mean? Like, and I watched, like, you hire 10 door-to-door people and one works, right? And you're like, why is it that 9 out of 10 suck? Like, and why is it that when I go to a family party, everybody's like, you're still doing that door-to-door thing? You know what I mean? Like, you know, why is it that like I get shit for dropping out of college because I wanted to keep door knocking? And people are like, wait, you're going to school. Like, why don't you finish your degree? And it's like, I remember sitting in biology class. I'm 22 years old. I sitting in biology right after the summer, fall semester, and I'm like, how much does this biology teacher make? Well, I just made $500,000 in 4 months.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm 22. I'm over here like, so I vividly remember I'm like folded up my books, and I'm like, I'm out. And I just like walked out.
At 22?
At 22, 23, I walked out.
Yeah.
So that summer of 23 years old, I dropped out of college and said, I'm going all in on this door-to-door thing. And the next year in 2014, finished top rep, like built a big team, like, and really started playing like real in door-to-door. Yeah. And a lot of people are like, you can make that kind of money in door-to-door. I'm like, yeah, very much so. Like, you get a team, you go sell lights out. Like, it's even better than it was back then 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
It's better now.
Oh, way better. And so 2017, I'm sitting on a rock in the desert on a 3-day fast, just by myself on a meditation retreat. And day 2, I have like a kind of this hallucination, like,
Yeah.
like it was just like God's like, you need to create a conference and bring these door-to-door people together and like help up level the industry, bring honor, integrity,
Yes.
bring tool, like make it cool. Like,
Right.
you know, like when you say dialing, it's like, wait, you do telemarketing? Oh, you do door-to-door? And I'm like, yeah, you bet I do.
Yeah, man.
And, you know, but most people don't want to apply for that ad. Most people don't want to do the work. Most
Yeah.
people don't, you know what I mean? And I'm like, we need to like bring some swagger to this.
Yep.
So God's like, throw a conference. I'm like, no. Kept knocking on my door, and I was like, damn it, I have to do this. And so 2018, we threw the first door-to-door con. This January, we're going on the eighth year.
Really?
And we had 3,000 people there last year. We've had every big-name speaker. We've had, you know what I mean? This year we had Mike Posner, Harry Mack.
Let's go.
Like, Erwin McMahon is calling a break. Like, we have some dope. Like, last year we had Jordan Peterson, John Maxwell, everybody. So we threw this conference, and I was like, had to drop out of solar basically because everybody thought I was trying to recruit other people. And I'm the VP, and I'm like, oh crap, I can't like recruit and then authentically like tell them I'm not going to recruit. But like, you know, so I was stuck in this like rock and a hard place. So it forced me into this whole world of, I own a company now called Door-to-Door Experts.
Okay.
And we do coaching through masterminds, online training, events, one-on-one. We have a tech platform, our own CRM. We have our own learning training system. Like, and now over the last 8 years, we've literally probably trained over 60,000 sales reps.
I love it.
Helped thousands of companies. Like,
yeah.
And from one-on-one, like I'm going right now to go coach some of our clients here in Arizona that do roofing, that do solar. Two different clients I go to today. And it's like helping them from recruiting guys. So we have like a recruiting summit at the end of this month in Miami, to building a team and like training and onboarding. And like, how do you get a team of ninjas to go door to door, right? Like you're in the people management system.
Right,
and
right.
When you're in a call center, you can like watch them, you monitor every little freaking second, and you know exactly their KPIs. When you're in door to door, it's the Wild West. Like,
it is crazy.
Yeah, you can't see what they're saying. You can't know where they're at. You can't, you know, there's a lot of like nuance to this.
Yeah.
So it's like herding cats. And so anyway, we've helped a lot of people either add door to door, optimize their door to door, scale their door to door programs, and yeah, and written a few books. I mean, that's my journey in a nutshell.
Dude, that is, and you're how old now?
34.
And you started back when you were 22.
No, I started when I was
11. Sorry, 11.
So 18 was my first summer doing alarms.
Yeah.
So in 2008 was summer one, you know, so I've been doing this for a while, even though I'm young. So,
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
And you have a very successful career. You can make real money doing door to door.
Real money. I mean, I had a kid on my stage. So we have an award called the Golden Door Award every year we give out at DDDCon.
I've heard about it.
And I had a 17-year-old junior in high school last year hit it in pest control. Well, he did this summer, 18 years old. He'll make, going out of senior year of high school, he'll make $500,000.
It's real money.
In his junior year of high school, in 4 months between class.
That is crazy.
He made $300,000 last year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but I mean, these are top 1%ers. But I'm like, dude, this is kid's like young, like in 4 months. Like, we're talking like, but you grind your ass off. You knocked doors at 108 yesterday here in Arizona. It sucks. Like, you're not. Like, this is not for the faint of heart.
No. And that's where, like, listen, dude, at the end of the day, sales it's changed my life.
Yeah.
It's changed my life. I didn't get in as young as you. I was 28 years old when I got into my first call center, right? And you probably look at doors the way I look at call centers. And I, like, legit admire what you've been able to do because, dude, like, I'm not against it, but it's like, I would much rather be sitting in this cool ass office.
Bro, you got like good audio,
air
conditioning,
but to
dialer that's doing it for you.
Everything.
Yeah, like you don't have to walk. You don't have to get your face kicked. Like you don't have to have anybody spit on you, cops coming at you.
Dude, you guys are a different breed.
It's a different game.
Different breed. But there's real money to be made in it. Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt the video, but I know you're getting a ton of value listening to the difference between door knocking versus picking up the phone. Hey, at the end of the day, there's nothing anybody can tell me being out in the blistering sun, literally blisters on your feet, getting doors slammed in your face, that's what you want to do. So if you are a door knocker out there and you think it's time to switch industries, what I want you to do is I want you to text the number below and let's chat. There's never a better time than now to think about switching industries. And if you are that person, I want you to text the number below. There's a gold rush coming here in the very near future, and you do not want to miss out on it. It's in the real estate space. Text the number below. Let's get back to the video. I was excited to have you on because you've spent years and years and years knocking wood and hitting the pavement, dude. Yeah. You really have. And you made a ton of money. You've changed a ton of lives. You've helped an 18-year-old kid right out of high school make $500,000. And I'm sure there's countless other people, thousands and thousands and thousands. You were telling me about a university you have. Anybody out there that is literally, listen, if you followed me for any amount of time and that's why you're watching this, there's a reason I brought Sam on here. Like, he is the opposite of what I do, but I am smart enough to know, like, knocking doors is an essential part of any business.
Yeah, and I call it the 7 doors to knock. You could cold call them. You could cold email them. You could text them. You could knock their front door. You could, and that could be B2C. That could be B2B. That could be, and you could Facebook ad them and knock on their social media. You could ringless voicemail. You could send them a direct mail, right? Like those are all forms of knocking. This cold calling and door knocking requires some human interaction.
Yes.
Like, it requires a phone call. It's a more outbound type knock.
Yeah.
Where an email, they don't answer, they just delete. Like it goes in their spam. Like you didn't feel shit. Like you didn't get any like emotion. They were just like, they didn't text back. Like you know what I mean? Like it's whatever. Cold calling, whether it's on the phones or door knocking, requires actual skills in sales.
Yep, I agree. Right before we were doing this podcast, we were actually right outside the podcast room, and we got to talking about how you are you are on a mission to clean up this wild, wild west of a industry out there. And really, I don't know if it's just the solar industry or if like all the roofing, all of them.
It's just sales in general. Like, why does it get a bad rap? Like, and it's for the 5 to 10% to make it a bad rap. Like, it's the bad apple. Everybody's like, oh, you're a slimy car salesman. You're a slimy, it just has this name and stigma. And I'm like, sales is what creates freedom. Like the ability, like you knew when you lost everything. You knew worst case scenario, I could pick up the freaking phone and I could sell my way out of something.
And I did just that.
Exactly. And that creates independence. Which I think we're in a country of independence. We're in a world of people want freedom. And I think the issue is like people don't realize if they can gain that skill set of selling, it doesn't matter where they go, what they sell, you can't take that away from them.
No.
And the issue is too many people don't take the time and energy to learn that skill set. They don't learn how to deal with rejection, overcome objections. Like they don't know how to go and beat the phones, beat the pavement, and go hustle that hustle muscle. And so I don't care what it is. Trying to sell your kids eating vegetables, trying to
your
get
wife,
a date,
everything.
Your wife, convince your friends to go bowling this weekend. I don't care what it is. Sales is in an influence language patterns is one of the most strong, powerful skill sets anyone can effing get.
Yeah, I agree. I always say this, as long as, for me anyways, in my family, in my situation, as long as I don't pick up drugs or alcohol again, I truly believe I am recession proof for the simple fact I have learned a skill set, whether the economy is good or bad. Like if it's good, people got all this extra money and they're buying stuff they probably shouldn't be buying, just buy it, right? Or if the economy's bad, when things are bad, people buy things that make themselves feel good. So it's like no matter what happens, I think me, my family are going to be okay, good or bad, the economy, because there's always going to be something out there that I can sell somebody to help them with whatever situation they're at.
100%.
You know what I mean? So let's get into a little doors versus phones.
I love this.
Huh? Doors versus phones.
Yeah.
So my motto is stop knocking and start dialing. And I still believe that today. And just for the simple fact, my career has been built on a phone. And I look at why and you've mentioned a couple things. So like I could easily, let's just say solar, for instance, even though I've never sold solar. I've helped solar guys, but I've never actually sold solar myself. I would rather, if I had, let's say Maricopa County here in Arizona, and rather than take, like, what's been a size of your team? Like, how big of a team have you had before?
Up to 100 guys. But
So-
like take like an average team of like 15.
All right, so 15. And then what you do on door to door, because I'm actually curious of this. So if you're gonna take your 15 guys, do you go and say, hey, go to this neighborhood? How do you orchestrate this?
Yeah, so like we have an app that we've made called the DDD CRM. It's a
Your
knocking app. Yeah. And
Got
there's other ones out there, but basically you draw territory.
Okay.
It's like you think of Google Maps. You circle a neighborhood.
Okay.
And it assigns to them, and you say that's your turf, and they then can drop pins based on where they've dispositioned the homes. Not home, not interested, call back, sell. Right.
Okay.
And so that's kind of as long as you can convince them to drop a pin, you know what I mean? Which a lot of people are just like, oh yeah, I forgot to freaking log it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But that's like the way that you kind of orchestrate your team. You're like, you're here, you're here, you're here.
All right.
Let me know when you need new turf.
So let's say you get Johnny
Yeah.
and Territory 1, and it's a subdivision of 100 homes.
Yep.
And how long would it take Johnny to walk 100 homes on average?
Probably 3 days.
Oh, okay. So Johnny spends 3 days in Territory 1. There's 100 homes in there, and he walks all 100 homes, but he gets out of 100 homes, what's average KPI?
So, maybe 1 out of 10.
1 out of 10 homes is actually going to answer and give us time of day?
So 1 out of 4 might answer. 1 out of 10 might say yes.
Okay. Cool. So we have 100 homes, 1 out of 10. We're going to get 10 leads out of that subdivision?
Yes.
All right. So the other 90, because he's going to spend 3 days walking that neighborhood. After he's done, does he literally start at house 1 and walk that again?
So he'll hit if you do it right, he's going to walk that same 100 homes probably all 3 days. He'll knock 100 doors a day, but he's not going to catch everybody at the right time. So you're going to knock some homes early at like 3 to 5, and then you're going to recircle back and hit it from 5 to 7, and you might circle back and hit it from, you know what I mean? So you're kind of like looping your neighborhood, trying to catch people at different times of day.
And how do we know Johnny the closer actually knocked all 100 doors?
By the pins, as long as they drop the pins.
So if we drop Johnny in the neighborhood of 100 doors, but he has to go knock, and then bam, I knocked this house.
Yes.
So he's dispositioning that lead.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then all right, let me take that same neighborhood here with the way we do it.
Yeah. You got your 100.
Yeah, because like the industry I'm in, it's the real estate wholesale space. So
100%.
We're not trying to put solar panels on. We're actually trying to buy the whole house.
Yep.
So I go into a neighborhood of 100 homes. And what I do is I take those leads, I send them over to my call center. So I own a virtual assistant company over in Pakistan. We take 100 homes, we drop them in the dialer, and we literally, for a month, will just beat the snot out of those leads.
Yep.
And so those leads get sent over to us, right? Here at my office. Once that lead hits our CRM, which I created a CRM for the wholesale industry. Like I put every lead through what's called the 10 days of hell.
Okay, I love that.
So when a lead raises their hand, let's just say it was solar. Hey, solar, I want solar. I'm interested to see if I can save some money. Or I want to sell my house. Lead hits our CRM for 10 days straight. My CRM is going to deliver it a text message every day for 10 days. And my closer is going to call that lead every single day for the first 10 days. I started off doing like 3 days of hell. Then I went to 5 because I was having success. And I'm like, holy cow. I went 3, 5, 7. Now I'm at 10 days of hell.
Well, Zig Ziglar talked about this. He's like, 90% of people will give up after the first call.
Yes.
I don't know the exact statistics, so I'm bullshitting this. But
it's a lot.
Yeah, he's like, and then like 87 will give up after the the second call. And
Yes.
then it's like another 35 give after the third. And he breaks it down. He's like, only 10% give up after the fifth call or something.
Yes.
He's like, but if it takes, you know what I mean? So there's a statistic there that you probably start to dial in.
100%.
And in today's information age, what's really interesting is I think that statistic's grown bigger. It might take 20 follow-ups for somebody's attention because they're getting so inundated in their email, their text. Like, it's so normal to have drip campaigns where the Russell Brunsons of the world 10 years ago were, you know, people check their email 15 years ago. Today, people don't check their email. Like, you know what I mean? It just auto filters. So, like, certain strategies that maybe were good 5-10 years ago, where people were catching on to, oh, this is a robot. You know what I mean? So it's like you kind of have to 10 times. You know what I mean? Like,
So I'm just thinking of like that neighborhood. It's like, obviously, you guys know you're going to miss out on right? That's just the nature of the beast. When you scale anything, they don't do what you expect. They do what you inspect.
Correct.
Right? I just look at that and I'm like, man, for the life of me, it's like, why would I send, whatever, even 2 guys to a neighborhood to knock doors when I can do the same things? I can automate it, some of it with SMS drip campaigns. I can track. I literally can pull up a number and be like, all right, we've dialed this number 15 times, or no, 10 times in the last 10 days. Because I know closer Johnny in that neighborhood cannot knock that door 10 times in 10 days. He just can't. It's not possible, I don't think, right?
he won't.
He won't do it. So it's like, but this is why I honestly wanted to have you, Sam. Multiple reasons. One, I wanted to get to know you, but I know in our industry, do you do anything in the wholesale space?
Yeah.
You do. People that come in, leads are everything. If you don't have leads, you don't have you're dead in the water. And for the real estate space, this is a low barrier to entry. For people to get into the real estate space,
Low barrier
to entry. If you can source your own deals, you now can start flipping properties. You make more money on your flips. You can buy rental properties. And there's a tsunami of people out there that don't have marketing dollars.
100%.
And I am, I'm loud and proud about don't knock a door. But I know there's so many people out there that look at my message and they're like, wait a second, dude.
I need a call center in Pakistan. I need leads. So think about it like this. You can go buy data, right? So like we have data sources. I'm sure you have data sources. You can find like the default payment sources.
All of it.
Find all that, right? So in wholesale, for example, we've trained a lot of wholesalers, and I've done wholesale, and I've done a ton of real estate over the last decade, right?
Yeah.
So I go, for example, I'm at Cody Sperber's, and we did a co-hosted event, and we're talking about their system of drive for dollars, right? Like this is a whole thing. And, And Tarek Nutzos or whatever. He's like, Sam, can I freaking get your teams? Like, because he's like, my guys will take photos of these homes and be like, yep. And then they send it as like a lead. And I'm like, that's no lead, bro. Like, that's a photo. That's like you can get that data without the freaking photo. Congratulations.
Right.
You have an Uber driver taking photos. And I was like, what if you got the dude to just go knock the door, even with the shittiest pitch? Hey, I am so-and-so. Would you sell me your house? That was one step farther than the dude taking photos. That's it. That was the worst pitch ever, but at least it's somebody talking to somebody.
Yeah.
And so I think that the problem is like, you look at the end buyer. They resonate differently. You get some old lady that's still watching freaking infomercials.
Yep.
And you got some new homeowner that doesn't have TV, right? So the old lady's still buying Dish Network because she loves her infomercials. And the dude's streaming because he's like, I only have Netflix, right? So 2 different buyer archetypes. Homegirl's still got a home phone. Homeboy's like, I got my freaking phone blocking every scam likely caller, so I never answer a scam likely caller, right? But all of a sudden you knock on Homeboy's door and you're like, cool. You knock on my door. I'm like, you seem like a cool guy.
Right.
All of a sudden, you've got a relationship that no text, no email, no freaking random spam likely phone call would ever get with me. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense, man.
And the second piece is you talk to that guy and you're like, well, who else do you know? And he points to his neighbor, John, next door. And he's like, John's a cool dude. Go talk to him. Now you talk to John next door. On your dialer, it's not logically knowing, I just got done setting up Steve. He told me to come talk to you, John, next door to your house. Like, it doesn't have the AI yet to understand that human connection.
Yeah.
You just talked to Steve? Yeah. Did he tell you I'd be stopping by? No. Shoot, I'll make sure I hit him up. I thought he was going to text you already. Like, that's a real connection, right? Like, and now I've got this name list. I've got this momentum. I've got this know about. I know when their freaking soccer practices are in the neighborhood. I know what their freaking school principal's name is. I know what, you know what I mean? I start to like become the mayor of the town is what we call that. And I think that's what's missing a lot of times in phone is it's like you're looking at it next. It's a quantity game.
It's a volume play.
It's a volume play, which I'm not discrediting. I have freaking the Salesforce and Pardot and Fastcall and Twilio, all that shit built out. I have an AI to, like, trust me, I geek out on that shit. But I still geek out on the fact that today's world, I don't care how good AI gets, I don't care how many dials people do, they want to have human connection. And so the only time you're going to sell anything, even if you dial for dollars, is if you can break that first 30 seconds.
I agree.
And get them to talk to you.
I agree.
And it's like, I don't care if it's like homegirl that's horny, that's single mom. Like, she's over here like, dudes on phone sounds hot. Like, I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't care who it is, but you're just like, I need to have the tenacity to create a connection and close.
Yeah.
That's what we're all trying to get at.
100%.
And
Yeah, no, I get it.
But the 10 drip, it's like you're obviously going to get a lot of FUs.
100%.
Which is great. And same as door to door.
Yeah.
It just doesn't hurt as bad because they're saying FU to a text message.
Right.
That you're like, I don't even see his face.
Yeah.
Versus somebody looks you in the eye and says, you're a piece of shit. Why don't you get a normal job? I'm calling the cops on you. They spit on you. They push you. They call you like. You can get that on the phone. Like I told a guy the other day that was like, dude, you've called me 4 times. I've told the first 2 guys nicely. I'm in sales training.
Yeah.
This was like 3 days ago. And they were trying to get me to sell my apartment complex. And I'm like, I've sold the property. I've told the first 2 guys earlier today this.
Yeah.
Don't call me. And I was like, now I'm getting frustrated. And I told him kind of F off. And I was like, I normally not a dick like this, but I'm going to like bluntly, very meanly tell you this.
Right.
And he's going to hang up and be like, haha, next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And good for him. He can't get emotional. But like when you're there face to face, like sometimes it's a little bit more emotional because you got a long walk to the next house. Does that make sense? Like it's 100%. You're like 45 seconds of just like, it's 108 degrees right now. I have to walk to the effing next door and people are seeing me and the dudes driving by are like, look at this solicitor in my neighborhood. Facebook groups are going crazy. They're like, creeper in the neighborhood, look out, you know? And you're just like, I'm not a creeper on a scooter, bro. Like, I'm a good human being. Like, damn it. Like, you know what I mean? They're calling the cops. You're like, what did I do? Like, the cops over here like, I got a call and you're like, do I look like I'm stealing shit from people? Like, I'm legit. You know
and
what I mean?
that happens with door to door all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. So don't think, like, everyone that's sitting here and listening to this today, like, I'm sure you have been through some shit.
Dude, I got put in jail. Like, I'm a criminal. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm a criminal for knocking on doors.
Right.
Like, cool mugshot, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
but he's been through it.
Yes.
You've had doors you said you have doors slammed on you. You've been chased by dogs. What's the craziest thing, Sam, in all of your years from 11 to what, 33 you said?
Yeah. So this was more crazy. It's pretty crazy. And it was a scary situation. I'm 18. It's my first summer out in Texas. And I'm in a neighborhood where I swear I went like 3 weeks without seeing a white person. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, where am I?
Right.
And this big old black dude answers the door, right? And he's like, you'd think, like, he looks like Shaquille O'Neal, like, huge.
Right.
He opens the door, swings it wide open, and you'd think he'd be like, yo, Cracker, what's up? He's like, hello? And I was like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh shit. He's
What's going on here?
Yeah, I know. He's like, come on in. Like, you know, and he's like just super fruity. Like, I was like, oh shit. Like, okay. Like, flirt to convert, I guess. Like, let's go. and he's like, you want to see my toys? I'm like, sure, whatever. Anything to get the sale. You know what I mean?
Right.
He walks me to his, and as we're walking to his room, he's like, oh, that's me and Chuck Norris. We train together. And I'm like, you train with Chuck Norris?
Right.
Like, that's dope.
Here we go. Where are we going?
I'm a double black belt. Like, you know, and like, it's just something I do. And I'm like, oh shit. So he walks me into his closet shows me all of his dolls that are still in like boxes. I'm this 18-year-old white kid. Like, I'm like, this dude is like twice my size.
Well, what's gonna happen here?
I'm in his walk-in closet looking at effing dolls, and he's between me and door. I'm like,
Oh boy.
oh shit.
Yeah.
Just
right.
I'm like, how'd I get in this situation
Yeah,
now? And I'm just wordsmithing my way out of this right now. I'm like, these are awesome, man. Like, as I'm trying to like snake out of closet. And I'm like, I think he's like, you want to go to dinner and like Crab Shack? Like, he's like, you want to go to Crab Shack with me tonight? And I was like, my manager would like not let me.
Right.
I'm over here just like, God, please watch over me in this moment. I do not want to have rug burn up my ass right now. Lord. Like, I was just like, that was a sticky situation. But no, I remember I had this cop arrest me out of a guy's house one time. And like the neighbors, they kicked some of my reps out and I guess pulled their permit. And he comes knocking on this door. He's like, is there a guy riding a scooter in here? And I was like, because I rode a Razor scooter door to door. I just thought it was way more fun.
Yeah.
iPad in one hand,
Scooter.
hand on one arm.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, but like I've had so many crazy
Arrested for
stories.
what?
For door knocking. He's like, you're knocking without a permit. I was like, what are you talking about? Here's my permit. He's like, we pulled your permit earlier today.
So when you go to a neighborhood, all right, I didn't know any of that. So let's say people that are listening right now, and I'm like, hey, if you don't have marketing dollars, go
knock.
Knock.
Free.
So
Yes.
if Susie that's listening right now were to just literally walk out her front door and start knocking doors, does she have to have a permit for that?
So a lot of cities require a solicitor's permit. So I'd highly recommend looking into that. You know, is it everyone does it every time? No. Are they like so strict on that? No. But like you get more confident when you're like, effing call the damn cops. Here's my permit.
Here's my
like,
permit.
I'm supposed to be here. You feel this level of confidence. So
Got it.
And it's the way to do it. Like I teach, do it the right way. Like,
Yeah.
So look at the city, say what's your permit requirements. And some of them are so easy. You just go pay $25 and you got a permit.
Yeah.
Some of them, like there's a city in New Mexico I went to, they made me take a blood test for a communicable disease. And like, you know what I mean? Background,
For a permit.
From a door-to-door, I'm like, okay. Like,
wow.
So
Okay.
some are more complex, some are really easy.
Got it.
But that's the thing. Like you have your list. So I'll make the argument. You have your list. I got 100 homes.
Yep.
You dial them 10 times.
Yep.
You get your 10 that convert, whatever. Well, I couldn't get a hold of you. I've been calling you 10 times. You've seen my number, right? What happens if you show up to their house now? You're like, are you Steve? They're like, yeah. I've been trying to get a hold of you. How come you haven't hit us back? We were trying to let you know what's going on. And they're like, well, what is it?
Yeah.
Like that right there, I guarantee myself a response.
Yeah.
Where if you know it's a hot, like if you routed, so like on our app, there's a routing system. So you know these are my 5-star opportunities, we'll call that. Meaning you have a filter of like ideal prospects. You drop them into my CRM. It then routes their home, and you have the most efficient way to go get to them. And you were to go to those, let's say, ideal 20 that day. And you every day routed your 20. And you're like, cool, in the morning I made my 500 dials. I don't care. And then in the evening or the afternoon, I'm going to go freaking route 20 homes and go knock the ideal prospects and see if I can't catch them because they're definitely not answering the phone. So if you knock their door and you kind of come off with some authority of being like, I'm not the cops, but I'm here because I know that you're in trouble. Like that pitch right there is it. Like, hey, and I'm not trying to come off the wrong way, and this is a sensitive topic, but it's really important that we have a conversation. It's cool we step in. They're like, what is it? You're like, I'll step in and show you. And you come off authoritative.
Yeah.
And you're like, we've been trying to call you. You've not responded to my calls, my texts, or my emails. They're like, oh, that's you? Like, yeah, you probably told me to F off. I get that. But the conversation we're about to have is really important. Is it cool if we step inside? And that is your pitch?
Yeah.
After you've dialed them 10 times?
Yeah.
The person's like, oh, shit. Like, this person's a real dude, not some Pakistani homie.
Right.
Even though the Pakistani homie is the one that did the 10,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But all of a sudden, you're like, give me the 20 to go knock today.
So what about when it comes to training, though? All right. So you got 15 guys out on the streets, and they're knocking all these doors. They're having a ton of conversations, and like you have your 20 percenters that are clipping a shit ton of business. Then you got 80% that fill in all the gaps, right?
Yep.
How are you Because right now, if I wanted to, I could literally pull up my phone system.
Every freaking call is recorded, right?
Every call is recorded. I can get the team and I can be like, every Wednesday morning, which that's what I did religiously. Every Wednesday, we come in an hour early. All my closers would be there. We'd pick recordings. Sometimes we'd pick the 2 to 3 minute ones because why couldn't you keep them on the phone longer? Or we'd go to a 45-minute conversation. Why couldn't you get them to the close? How do you do that when they're out knocking doors?
So 2 things. One, there's an app called Zero. So we are partnered with them, and they've done a lot of stuff with us. And it digitally records, then transcribes, and AI actually identifies the key moments of those conversations. It's a field sales tool that integrates into apps like ours. So what it does is it's like, when you can hit start and stop on every door, or it knows, because once it hears your voice, like it's always kind of like recording. And so it'll just record, stamp the door, tie it to that door pin, and actually transcribe it out. And like AI will identify. What's also dope is we've like trained it based on our universities. So there's like consuming content, which we have thousands of videos on different industries of how to door knock, the pitch, the close, everything, right? Objection handling. We have D2D University, which is consuming. But like what you're saying is call review, which is like, I want to be able to like listen in and like give feedback and like, this is where you lost them, right?
Right.
So you can use tools. And then my other favorite move was just put an AirPod in, or put like, I used to use that one like neck kind of headphones. I don't know if you remember the ones that went on.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I'd say, I'm going to call you, and I'm just going to listen in.
Got it.
So then you can hear that conversation. And I did like virtual ride-alongs, essentially.
Got it. Okay.
And yeah, so there's a few
like
ways.
a TO, you could.
Yeah.
So is that the app you're talking about? When I go knock a door, boom, and they answer, as soon as voices start, it picks it up.
It records it, timestamps it,
so
geostamps
the closer
it.
does not have to hit a button.
No.
It automatically does it.
Yeah. It's pretty dope.
All right. What about, and I think I have a strategic advantage over if I'm running it, because my last company that my wife and I owned, I had in my office over 100 guys on the phones. It was like 102 or 3 or something like that. Let's just call it 100. I had 100 guys on the phones, and we were calling people all over the United States. But I also had team leads that would literally
walk around. Yeah.
Dude, they would walk the aisles. They were responsible for their teams. And when somebody got to the end, if they couldn't give them, push them over the edge, it was literally raise your hand, and I got somebody right there that could come on as an authority and maybe offer them a little bit more, say exactly what you said, but in a different way. Yeah. And it's like we constantly had multiple TOs that were right there to help all my closers.
So do you want to come build my call center out?
Huh?
Bro, I'm so bad at this shit.
But it's like, that's how we did it. And I'm like, all right, you put 100 guys. I am 100% not against door knocking, because like, I just signed somebody up in my community. He is a local guy here to Arizona. He's never spent $1 on marketing, and he's been wholesaling for 3 years, and he's doing $60,000 a month wholesaling, but he does it all knocking doors. And I was like,
there's so many of those.
I know, but I'm like, dang, bro, if you can do 60 grand knocking doors, if we just if we just throw a little bit of phone marketing in for you, you're to 6 figures super quick. Because, and he even said, he's like, man, I've been knocking doors for 3 years. And if I'm not out knocking doors, I'm not getting sales.
Yeah, that's the hard part. And that's where recruiting, building a team, automating, building a business, it's very different than you being an individual contributor as a door knocker.
Yeah.
And that's like, you had 100 digital door knockers.
Yes.
Cold calling, right? So, I mean, that's scaling at that point, and that's creating efficiencies at that point, which is a different phase. Which I think everybody and anybody, because here's the other part of this: they get somebody on the phone that finally answers, and they don't have sales skills. That's a lost opportunity. And so if somebody goes spends, they're like, I'm getting into wholesale. I'm transitioning out of my last business. I'm starting fresh here. I've got some capital. I'm going to invest into marketing. I'm going to buy some leads. I'm going to get some XYZ. I'm like, that doesn't mean you can sell it. So now you're going to blame the leads. You're going to blame the actual system. And I'm like, how about you blame yourself for not knowing how to close?
Yeah.
That's your own fault.
Yeah.
So what I like people to do is go freaking sell their first 10 wholesale deals. Learn the objections. Learn how to close. It didn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, like you got your education that didn't cost you 30 grand in SEO and marketing and all that call center and all that shit. Mm-hmm. So you're like, cool. Now when I do get a lead, I'm not botching that conversation.
Yeah.
Like I have a way better, make percentage, batting average. And I think that's where people underestimate the power of training and learning and development. And they think just throwing more money or hiring this guy. They're like, well, if I could just hire one of these guys that just is like an A player. And I'm like, you don't even know how to train the A player.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that, dude.
Right,
He's going to come to you and you're going to be like, well, I don't know because I'm suck. Like, I've never done it.
Yeah.
So it's like people try to skip steps. And I'm like, no, step one is learn how to sell the shit out of this.
Right.
Step two is then if you do get a lead, then you're not optimizing that lead. And then three, let's go duplicate that. Let's go train, develop, build out a squad.
Yep. How do you feel about scripts?
Love them.
All right, cool.
So
I was like, man, are we going to go?
No.
I love scripts.
And this is where I had to learn this lesson the hard way when I was 17. I'm a senior in high school. Dude comes along, was like, recruits me to go sell ShamWows, Quick Chopper 2000s, and Gottschalks and Kmarts.
Dude, I love it.
So he's like, wait, you're Mormon? And I was like, yeah. He's like, my boss told me to hire the Mormons. I was like, okay. Little did he know, that means after your mission, not... I'm still in high school, dude. I haven't done the mission thing.
Right.
And so he's like, well, anyway, even though you're 17, I'll still hire you, whatever. So I'm like 2 weeks in, haven't sold shit. Like I was good at sales because I did curb painting, right? Like I had sales experience, but like I was like, can you just come watch me and see what I'm doing wrong? Because I got everybody like all hyped. You're in a Kmart, you do the announcement, you're like, hey, everybody, I'm going to be giving away a free gift here at aisle 7 by the Fine China. It's in 13 minutes. Make sure you're there. You know what I mean? Like, and I get the crowd there, and I had the cool flashing lights and the mirrors and the TV. Like, you know what I mean? That was me. Like, I was in a chef's outfit, bro.
I love it.
And so I'd be hyping this, and everybody's laughing. All these, like, moms. I'm the 17-year-old, decent-looking senior in high school, just having fun with this, right?
Yeah.
And he looks at me, and he goes, well, you want to know why you didn't sell shit? He's like, one, you didn't stick to the script.
Uh-huh.
Two, you made you the entertainment, not the product the entertainment.
Yeah.
He's like, you stole the show. The product should have the show. But he's like, have you memorized my script? And I was like, well, it was like 4 pages, dude. Like,
dude, I have a 13-page script for this industry.
Yeah, it was long. Like, I was like, you want me to memorize that whole freaking, like, play? Like, that's a full play, bro.
Yeah.
And it was like a 30-minute, 40-minute word for word. And he's like, yes, that's why we wrote the damn script.
Right.
And I was like, oh, man. So I have a mantra that goes, memorize, internalize, then personalize. Meaning you can't skip the memorize. Then you can internalize. Why is the script? And you can't start personalizing it until you understand why the script is a freaking script.
I love that.
And if you can't tell me why I put these types of pullbacks, why I put this type of question, if you don't know what kind of question that is, then how the hell are you going to wing one when you're in the thick of it?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%. I love it.
What makes me really good at training is we element, and I naturally was always good at sales. My first day I sold 5 alarms, and everybody's like, who's this 18-year-old kid? Like, I was the #1 rep out of 3,000 sales reps, and everybody come to me and be like, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't know. I say the same shit you do. Like, work hard. You know what I mean? So like, I'd be like, work hard. And they were sick of getting that response. Yeah. And I was sick of giving that response because I was unconsciously competent. So I said, I need to start to be consciously competent and learn how to train. And so I wrote a book called The ABCs of Closing. I built out DDDU. I learned that not just online consumption's it. Like, what does the actual role play look like? How do I need to hold them accountable? What are the scriptings? How do I teach the scriptings? How do I framework things out so they can understand it, right? So I got obsessed with the power of how do I get people good? And we had the #1 per rep average for rookie out of 150 teams. We, now we've developed so many amazing salespeople. I have a book coming out called Eat What You Killed. It's really,
I love that.
It's dope. It's already on pre-order. You can go get it. But the element of what you just said, though, is so important. And I think too many people were like, scripts are beneath me. And then I had to learn the lesson the hardest way. And this one cost me a lot more than not selling a Quick Chopper 2000. So I move into the coaching space, and I'm selling from stage, we'll call this. And I
One
thought,
to many.
One to many, which is a different sale. I thought I'm a freaking badass on stage. Everybody loves me, blah blah. And I'm like, I get like 1,000 people in a room, and I freaking would sell like 100 grand, and I thought I was the shit, and I'd be like, yeah. And then finally, I was like, man, I feel like I have way more. Like from the people I'm talking to, they're like, they sell $1 million in that room, not 100,000.
Right.
And I'm like, how do I do that? So I called Buddy. He's like, go get this guy named Myron Golden. And have you ever heard of Myron?
I have.
So he's like, it's 30 grand. It's a 2-day workshop. You can come out to Florida. And I was like, 30 grand for a 2-day workshop? I was like, damn.
Better be some gold in
I
it.
know. I was like, he's like, it's more than a car, but less than a house.
Yeah.
That's what he told me.
Yeah.
I was like, shit. When is it? It's on Monday. That's in like 2 days. Fetch. I was like, so a lot of adversity to go into this thing. And I took a chance.
Yep.
Hire the dude, go out to Florida. Then we became friends. He came and spoke at one of my things, and he watches me. And I did all the things, and he goes, you're too good. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, you're naturally too good at selling. You need to memorize it, and it'll make you great. And I was like, damn. He's like, because you're so naturally quick-witted, you can get away, and you get a lot of people high-fiving and loving what you do based on you winging it.
Got it.
You want to be amazing, you memorize your damn speech.
Wow.
And I was like, touche.
How long ago was that?
This was 4 years ago. So I had this vision when he sat down in the workshop. He said, you want to know how to make $1 million? He's like, most people want to make $1 million in a year, right? He's like, what if you did it in a month? What if you did it in a week? What if you did it in a day? He's like, you want to know how to do it in a day? You sell this many things at this much, and he breaks it down. I was like, oh shit, I could make $1 million in a day. So I had this goal ever since then. I said, I want to make $1 million in a day.
In a day.
And everybody's like, you're crazy. I was like, I'm going to do it. So that door-to-door con, I was like, Myron, help me up and do $1 million in a day. And he watched me. He's like, you didn't memorize your shit. I was like, no, I didn't. So I had like 200 people come up, watch it. Only like 30 people effing sign. And I was like, damn it. I watched everything like sand slipping through my fingers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, damn it. We made like 300 grand.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I went from 100 grand to 300. That's pretty damn good. Like,
Okay.
the very next event though that I hosted, I had 40 people in a room. I was averaging 60K per event. I sold 160 grand. So I made my 30 grand back in 30 days after my freaking training.
Yeah,
so I was like, damn it, like instant return, which is a
Yeah.
testament to invest in your effing self.
100%.
So I made that ROI in 30 days, let alone about 90 days later was my big event, door-to-door con. Well, the next year, it was like, I'm not going to make the same mistake. So I do it, and I prepare, and I made like 400 grand. And I was like, damn it. So I send him the recording. I was like, what'd I do? He's like, you messed up here. You missed it here. I was like, did you memorize it? And I was like, well, kind of. I outlined it better. And he goes, you need to memorize your damn script. And I go, shit. So the very next year, I wrote my own music to my own rap, to my own like story, to my like word for word, memorized the shit, cadenced it like 50 times in the mirror, filmed it, pre-recorded it. You know what I mean? Like
you went.
I was
all
all in. Like it was down to the steps where I was walking. $1 million day.
That was a win?
Yeah. That was 2000. What was this year? 24?
4.
23. Yeah, 23.
That's
January
awesome,
2023.
bro. Congratulations.
January 2023. And, closed over $1 million in stage. And
So cool.
and that feeling of like, it took me 2 years, two failures.
Yeah.
And him saying, no, you idiot.
Yeah.
And me being like, okay, if I take this serious. And think about the difference, though. It went 300 grand, 400 grand, over $1 million. And it's the same 45-minute effing event.
Is
script.
that what it was? 45 minutes?
45 minutes. I made $1 million.
Of you pitching what you were selling.
Yeah. In 45 minutes, I made $1 million.
Really?
Like, and I think the story though, like, and I don't care if you're selling freaking a $100 thing on the phone.
Yeah,
it's the same principle. Is what I'm getting at.
Yep.
Is it's and it's funny because Brad Lee and Andy and I, we co-hosted an event, and I'm thinking, oh, Brad, like you should sell, bro. Like you're Brad Lee. Like, and I'm like, what are you gonna say? And he's like, well, I'm like, nope, you're not selling. So I will do the pitch. Like I was so confident because I'm like, I've memorized and rehearsed this shit so much.
Yeah.
That event, we closed 650 grand. And I'm
How
like,
many? Do you know how many people?
we had like 300 people in a room.
Really?
So like, and then Andy reclosed, right? So Andy Elliott was like, I'll do the repitch. I was like, so I'll do the first pitch, probably close like 400 and something grand on my first go. And then he got another 200 grand out of it after. But it was like, for me to have that confidence, when I'm in a room with Andy Elliott and Bradley, and I'm like, no, I go. I'm the batter.
I got it.
Like, that's saying something.
Yeah, man.
And I'm 20 years younger than Brad and 10 years younger than Andy.
Yeah.
It's not like you know what I mean?
I get it.
And so, but it's because I've had an experience where I know how to sell $1 million up from day.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I've put the time and energy into memorizing the damn script.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, different event, different speech, different this, but I said, I know the damn principles I need to hit on to make sure we have to get the money out of this.
Yeah. I did my first. How much time we got?
I don't know. What
All right.
is it?
Anyways,
No, it's probably-
I just want to make sure you get to your guys. I tried doing I was doing masterminds at my Raleigh office, and I'd bring 40 people in, and they were all qualified because everyone that came paid $5,000 to be there. And I'm like, all right, I got this pitch at the end. And I did a 2-day boot camp with them, and I was all jazzed up first time. But when you want to say wing it,
Yeah.
like I 100% winged it. I didn't even think about it. I knew the offer, and I only got one person to raise their hand. And I was like, oh boy. And standing in front of 40 people, I'm like, man, that didn't go well at all. And Andy Elliott and I just did a event back in June. It was my first event where there was going to be a few hundred people there. And the night before, we had a $997 product offer, amazing offer for $997. Multiple coaching calls with me and all this. So like the value was 100% there. And he was like, he sat with me like this the night before the event. He's like, I'm gonna tell you how to rebook a room. And man, you want to talk about, I like start having anxiety, and I'm
Dude,
like,
it's a thing.
it is. It went back to the first time I put a headset on my head. I had anxiety.
I had to go back to being a rookie.
100%. And so it was the night before the event, and I'm like, and he could tell in my face. He was like, you ain't comfortable, are you? And I'm like, I'm not comfortable at all, Andy. And he was like, you know what? F it. I'm going to go in there and I'll rebook the room for you. And I was like, oh, thank God. Right? So we had, I think it was 240 people.
Yeah.
And he goes, all I need you to do is before lunch, before I get on stage, get everyone to believe that they can do this. Tell them your story, tell them all that. I don't need you to teach anything. I don't need you to do anything. Andy gets on stage, does his thing. He was only supposed to be on there for 45 minutes. He was probably on there for an hour and a half. But when he rebooked, I was sitting there and I was literally like this, like a kid in a candy store. Because like I had never, I've seen it done, but I'd never been involved with it. And he goes and he does the rebook, and there was 240 people in the room. And I only bought 75 t-shirts because everyone that was going to rebook was going to get a picture with me.
Yeah.
So I bought 75 t-shirts, and I'm like, dude, if we can get 75 people, this is awesome. There was like 50% of the room stood up. And I was like, literally, I was like this. Oh my God, that was the craziest thing ever. So on a rebook, it was like 110, 115 people maybe that stood up. Line went out the door, and I was like, how did that even happen?
It is unbelievable the amount of psychology that goes into that. Like if
Yes.
Andy could not just on a 1 hour little training go show you that. It took me
Years.
5 years.
Yeah, years.
It is not just like, oh, make an offer. Like it is so crazy.
Yeah.
But it was fun because now I've been like obsessed with finding the psychology of moving a room, the psychology of getting people to move. Like
Yeah.
I emceed an event yesterday, and everybody was like, Sam was the best part of the whole event. I'm the MC.
I got that on my last event.
But I'm like, I keynoted it first, but I said, and somebody's like, man, like, and I told them I couldn't do it today. I was supposed to do the second day, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm like,
Right.
You pay me, bro. I was like, I'm gonna come keynote. I'm here anyway. Like, I'll help you, bro. Like,
yeah.
But I was like, look, I said, people don't realize how much I'm doing to make what you just didn't see.
Right.
And they're like, wow, you're so good up there. And I was like, yeah, because I've studied the shit out of this.
Yeah, this is years.
This is years. And I think people discredit, like, I've been on 100+ stages every year. Like, I do a lot of speaking. Andy does a lot of speaking. Like, you have to recognize that.
100%. I value it, man.
Just like door to door, people are like, "Oh, how do you get so good?" I'm like, "I don't know. I've done it since I was 11.
Yeah, dude,
That's
this
all I
is
do. This is what I
years.
do."
Yeah.
So when people are like, "Why would I pay you to train me?" I'm like, do you have hundreds of thousands of doors under your belt?
Yeah.
Have you trained the best out there? Have you know what I mean? Like, have you, okay, maybe that's why I can charge a premium. They're like, well, how come I can't be you? You know, I get the ego of like, well, how come he's that guy? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe because I'm really good at what I do and I take that with pride.
Of course.
And I'm not saying I'm like better than everyone. I'm just simply saying people want to skip that step of like, I don't know, I put in 20 years of doing it.
You got the reps, dude.
You know what I mean? And so many people want to fast track and they're like, I want to be you in the wholesale space, or I want to be Pace Morby, or I want to be whatever. And I'm like, how about spend 10 years making shit tons of money doing it?
Yep.
Then maybe go teach it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I'm 15 years into and it was one of those things. So you are full-time, you full-time teach.
Yes.
That is your amazing business model.
Yes.
Right? You are helping other people change their lives.
Yes.
Hone in on their skill, level up, all that. So my move out here, the office that we're in today, is to go all in on helping people.
Yes.
Now, I have been a 100% entrepreneur in the business for the last almost 14 years.
And that's great. And you're at a point where you're like, it's on autopilot. Like it's not fulfilling it at some point. You're like, I get more joy, even though I know I can make more money.
Yep.
Like when you charge somebody $5,000 to an event, you're like, I can make $5,000 making the phone calls.
Literally
like,
a phone call.
Yeah. Like, and they don't see that. They're like, I'm like, dude, you realize if I come knock with your team and I don't knock for myself, I can make $20,000 today knocking for myself.
Yep.
If I knock with your team, that means you make the money, I train the team, and it takes a day from me not wanting to just go do this, but I get more joy out of that.
Yeah.
But you still gotta pay me for my time and my know-how.
Yes. 100%.
Because me making little tweaks, like the guy I'm going to today, they did 1.3 million last month in roofing. 6 months ago, their best month was $500,000, $400,000.
I love it.
You know what I mean? So it's like we've almost tripled them in 6 months. Like I know how to do that. Like I could help 2, 3, 4x people's companies within 6 months on autopilot now.
Yeah.
What's crazy? I'm like, yep, do this. Like, and I've got that system for 8 years. I've dialed, and I'm like, just listen to me, you idiot.
That's all you got to do.
This, and this, and I promise. So I've become such an architect of people's companies now, to where the guy I was at dinner last night with, he's the second largest solar company in Arizona, and he's like, drinks our Kool-Aid. Like he's like, you have literally reshaped what we do. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, why am I going to dinner with the guy? Right? Like, because people realize like, oh shit, we follow the same system. It works there and there and there. You know what I mean? So
sales process.
It's a process.
You got it dialed in.
Yeah.
Love it, man. Well, Sam, it has been an absolute honor.
Yeah.
I still believe we should stop knocking and keep dialing.
No, I'm not. Hey, I can fight that. I will fight it all day. I think it's for the not as strong of heart, so it's good.
Yeah.
I think for those that are like, I couldn't do door to door because I'm a pussy, then go do what Eric does.
Yeah.
Like it is much more safe, more forgiving, easier in the sense of on your body. You can be overweight and still dial. You can have a bad hip and knee.
Dude, you guys are savages.
You could be ugly even. You could be
really
ugly.
No teeth.
Yeah, you could have face tattoos and
like
do what
literally,
you do. Yeah,
dude.
you could if that is you with face tattoos, overweight, you can't walk a neighborhood, please call.
Just dial.
Stay off the doors and don't give us a bad rap. We do not want you in the field.
So I knocked for a half a day probably a year ago.
Yeah.
Out in California, which, dude, it was like hot, but not really hot. I think maybe I was complaining, and I wear Vans all the time. Like I'm a Vans guy.
Yeah.
And I had shorts, pair of Vans, t-shirt. I didn't wear a hat. And so my face got super sunburned. They're like, you need to put some sunblock on. And just like when me and my wife are out on the boat, she's like, put sunblock on. I'm like, I don't need it. Well, I was knocking all day. Half a day. It felt like freaking 3 days. And we were knocking. Dude, by lunchtime, I am sunburned as all hell. I'm freaking feel like I'm dehydrated. I got blisters on both backs of my feet. I'm walking weird. And I was
do that
just
10 hours
every
day.
Dude,
for
you guys
10
are
hours.
savages.
That's why I'm like, it's
I get
not
it.
for everybody. That's why I'm like, I would say 90% of the people on this call don't do it because you couldn't. You won't.
Yeah.
You
For
won't.
them to be able to just pick a phone up and dial
you
some
can do
phone
that.
numbers.
Yeah. Oh.
Dude.
For the faint of heart, that's the better route. Like, go for
Yes.
it. Go for it.
Yeah.
But for the people that are like, I got some thick skin, I got some cojones. Like,
Yeah.
Like, go for it. Like, I promise you, go knock. That guy made $60,000 a month. Like,
Yeah.
And
It's there.
it's there. It's there for the taking. And when you go knock a door, they're like, wait, for what? Real estate? They're used to a pest control. They're used to a solar dude. They're used to, like, and you go talk about real estate, like,
Pattern interruption.
they're
not
like,
used
what's
to
this?
It, dude.
Like,
yeah.
and it's because people aren't willing to do it and you're willing to do it. You out compete those guys all day.
Yeah,
There's a
I
lot of
agree.
people on the phones doing it.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people showing up to their freaking front door.
Could not agree more. You would probably, and I will say on the record, you would probably absolutely crush it if you had the drive, the hustle to actually walk out the front door, start knocking some doors, and just say, "Hey, I'm in the neighborhood. We're looking to acquire a couple more properties. Are you interested, even remotely interested in thinking about selling your house?
That's it.
If so, I'd like to have a conversation with you."
That's it.
So
Very simple.
yeah, but if you can't dial, you definitely ain't gonna make it in the knocking
If
world.
you couldn't dial, yeah. Like, now you're don't even start.
Yeah. Dude, it was a pleasure having you on. You and your wife are absolute rock stars, dude. I'm glad I got to know you just a little bit. We've been on here. Looking forward to, honestly, man, bringing you into my world and
Yeah,
maybe
love
me
to
even
help.
coming into your world a little bit.
I would love to help. I
Yeah.
think your industry needs it more than any industry.
I agree, man. And there's just so many people out there that need what you have perfected.
For sure.
Yeah, you're a stud at what you do, man.
Thanks, brother.
Awesome.
Okay. Well,
All
thank
right,
you.
until next time. Thanks for coming on.
Much love.
Sam. Right on. Till next time, y'all. Hey, what's going on? I want to congratulate you for making it to the end. What does that mean? You're in the 1% club. No one else stuck around. You did. What I want you to do is subscribe. More importantly, comment below. That way I know exactly who you are and we can get to know one another. Every single week, by you turning your notifications on, you're not going to miss the sales training that's going to keep you in this 1% club. Comment below, subscribe. I'm going to see you in the next video. Let's continue to refuse to lose.